Good afternoon, friends. In the previous video, we learned about virtual environment. In Python, it has been already supported long before the Docker and containerization come. Python was already supporting virtual environment concept, in which we learned in the previous video that it creates a sandbox where we can pin down our Python version and the associated modules or the libraries that we have installed there. In this video, we are going to set up our project. Now, there are various options available. You can, like in the previous video, you can create manually your virtual environment by using Python -mpip v environment creation that we learned in the last video. Or we can use a helper package manager, which is Anaconda, which I will be using in this video. Again, for Anaconda, it's again a choice that you want to use Anaconda or use a mini conda. When you install Anaconda, it will install a lot of like extra libraries and the IDEs that you may use in future. For example, not only it installs jupyterlab or Jupyter Notebook, but it also installs say PyCharm community, Spider version, RT Studio if you are working on some analytics tool. So a lot of extra packages and modules are like packaged together and installed together with Anaconda, and it of around like half GB or like 1 GB of your total space. So that's why, few people don't want to like use those extra things that comes with Anaconda. That's why they install mini conda. But I will suggest that if you're starting to like learn first time Python, so go with Anaconda first, because it's already comes up with a lot of things that you might use in future. So let's install Anaconda first. So I've given some links here, and this link will open up to the download page. As you can see that we have got Anaconda installers based. So I'm using Windows machine, so that's why I can when you use click download, it will install Anaconda version with Python 3.12 version already embedded inside it. Similarly, for Mac and Linux, there are different installers available. Similarly, as I mentioned, that if you don't want all those extra packages are installed automatically, you can use the mini version of it. It will only come with the plain Python 3.12 version, and then on top of it, you can install whatever you want using the pip or conda installer itself. This is mini conda. So for this video, for our whole project setup for this tutorial series, I will be using Anaconda. And also, I've given one more link here where you can also look at all those archive direct the exe files here. So this is also available. I will provide in the description box. So you can directly go there and download these installers. It's only not for Windows, but also for Mac OS and Linux as well. So I've already installed Anaconda before. So you can just go here and then go to the Anaconda Navigator, this link, and then you can launch the Anaconda Navigator. So I already also launched it right just now. So here is the home page. Here you can see that we have got the list of virtual environments. So if you are coming for the very plain package first time, you will only see this base root here. But as I have installed Anaconda a long time back, so that's why I can see that there are a lot of like virtual environments which I created before. Similarly, as you can see that in the base environment, this is the base package virtual environment, root packages, you can see that there are a lot of libraries or the tools which are already installed with Anaconda. That's why it makes it huge to like half GB to 1 GB. So for example, we have got Jupyter Notebook that we'll be using in our tutorial series for NumPy demo. We have got jupyterlab, which is like a better version of using a club of like a lot of Jupyter notebooks in like one workspace. Now we have got PowerShell, PyCharm, Qt console, Spider, and all. As you can see that there are so many things which are already installed using when we just install Anaconda, like RStudio and all. So this is the like homepage, but as mentioned that here I will just show you the command line tools, which are like much easier to create an environment, to create a new environment, to activate a new environment, and to delete if you want. So we'll go through the command prompt, all those commands for conda manager. Now to launch Anaconda prompt, just do the search again, and here you can see that Anaconda prompt is there already. Just click it, it will open the Anaconda prompt. So as you can see that as soon as I launch Anaconda prompt, I'm getting this base, which is the default root virtual environment that comes up with Anaconda. This is what we saw when we launched this Anaconda Navigator, where we see the base as the root virtual environment. Now here, there are some very basic very basic commands by which we can completely control our project, our virtual environment like that. So let me go through all this like 3 or 4 commands list, which is very easy and very helpful, like to just start up and start up working with our Python virtual environment, whatever you want to create. So very first command to create a new virtual environment with a given Python version is this one. We can use conda create name and then give the environment name. This environment name can be anything, and then give the Python version. For example, if I want to create a new for this tutorial series, I want to give the name of virtual environment as intro to NumPy. So I can use this command. As soon as I run this command on the command prompt here, it will create our new virtual environment called as intro to NumPy, in which we have already got the Python version of 3.1.10 only in this intro to NumPy. Okay, so this is only like this Python, this version can be, I can change it to whatever version I want. For this project, I would use the Python 3.10 version for introduction to NumPy. Now, the second handy command is to list all the environments that we have already. As we know that we have got a base environment or as the root, which is already created for us. And now we also created one new environment, intro to NumPy, using Python version 3. So that would be also listed. Just for this project, I already created the project for NumPy using another virtual name called as Alexander. So just to list down all the environment list, I can use this command, conda environment env list. As soon as I enter here, I can see all the list of environments which I have created now or created before, besides the base. So let's wait for it when it's, so it's already printed that out. So you can see that I've created a lot of previous virtual environments before that. And this list is exactly same as what we see here when I do check this drop down. As you can see, base, Alexander and all. So I'll be using this Alexander as my virtual environment for this tutorial on NumPy. So after this, now we can see that we know how to create using the conda command. Now we also know that how to list the environment, all the environments that we have. Now we can activate a particular, so that, I mean, it's same as like moving inside the virtual environment that we learned in the previous video. We can use this conda activate command. And as soon as we are done with this and you want to move out, we can use conda deactivate. So these are like very basic, simple commands, like 3 or 4 commands that you need to know to start using Anaconda or a conda prompt to create a project and then start working on it. Besides that, so I've already created this. I've already done for the Alexander project, as I mentioned. So let me go to directly to the conda activate. I will just use Alexander because here I already installed everything which I need for this project. As you can see now, let me do the clear screen, and now I can just see. Okay, so here now the most important thing is that we will be using the pip package manager to install the necessary modules for this tutorial. So here I have listed the 3 mandatory things that we need. One is pandas. When you have to install pandas, because implicitly it will also install NumPy. Again, we need to like do some plotting, so that's why I used matplotlib as well. And in the final, we will be using Jupyter Notebook, so I have to install Notebook as well. So -u means that we want the updated version. It's similar to a minus upgrade. In the shorthand notation, you can use -u. And here are some optional packages which you can install, which are good to use. And these are like Bottleneck, numexpr, jupyterlab, and charset-normalizer. As mentioned, that these are optional packages. I mean, these are good to. I mean, once you like have the basic knowledge of NumPy, then you can start exploring these extra ones. For example, say Bottleneck. Bottleneck is a collection of fast NumPy array functions written in C. Similarly, numexpr, that is for fast numerical expression evaluator for NumPy, which you can further explore once you have the basic understanding of NumPy. Similarly, JupyterLab, I mentioned JupyterLab is something I prefer to use when I've got a lot of projects and I want to like create all those notebooks in a proper workspace where I can shut down any other. If I use normal notebook, it will just open one window in our web browser. So that's why, I mean, it can only work on that particular notebook. But if I'm using JupyterLab, I can create multiple of them and create a proper workspace type of thing that the same feature that we get in an IDE, the same thing we can get in JupyterLab. It's quite useful and kind of handy. But in this project, I will be using just the notebook. And then finally, the charset-normalizer. As mentioned, that this is just for transforming an unknown charset into encoding. So anyway, by default, I will be using English, which is UTF-8 or NC. So there shouldn't be any use as of now. So Once we have installed all this, like pandas, matplotlib, and notebook, and optionally this one, after this, we are all done with our package installations. And one thing I prefer is that when I launch my Jupyter Notebook, normally you have seen that if you have worked in Jupyter Notebook before, it's always having a white background. I prefer in a dark mode. Whether it's my IDE, IntelliJ, or PyCharm, whatever, I prefer the dark background, and then in which I can write in. So dark mode is actually good for my eyes. That's why to achieve this in the Jupyter Notebook, run this command. I provide this in the description of this video, and you can directly use this. By using this, I mean, you can see that you can have the black background for the Jupyter Notebook. Now I've already done everything, all these installations and everything already in my Alexander virtual environment. Now all setup is done. Now let's move to the working directory and launch our Jupyter Notebook. So I'll use CD. I'll go to the Anaconda prompt here, use CD, and this is my workspace. Okay, and now I just need to run this command Jupyter Notebook to launch my notebook. So Jupyter Notebook, that's it, and then it will launch whatever the default browser that you have created. It will open that here. So as you can see that now it is opening it in my default browser. So it's coming up. So I expect that because I have written the dark mode, that command there, yeah, you can see that my background is dark now. I just prefer this one. And here I have got this already, the code ready, which we'll be going through in the next tutorials for the whole NumPy walkthrough. Okay, so this was all about this Anaconda package installing. One last thing, that so here we are able to do it. Now if you want to like deactivate, the very simple command again, conda deactivate, it will move out of your Alexander virtual environment that we are using. And in future, if you want to, whatever reason, if you want to delete this environment, then you have to run this command, conda remove minus name, and just say Alexander for here, and then minus all. Just remember that if you want to remove a virtual environment, you have to deactivate it first. After that only you can remove it. And then using this minus all, what it means is that it will delete or remove all the packages that you have installed inside this virtual environment. One last thing before we conclude this video is that suppose if I go here and I just call Control-C, which is interrupted. So there are two commands which I can use to list down what is there in my, what are the modules or what are the things that are installed in my Alexander virtual environment. I can use one is Python-m pip list. Pip list will actually give me a very exhaustive list of all the modules which are installed along with that. So I just installed like pandas, matplotlib, and Bottleneck and all those things. But here, I mean, inside that there are so many libraries which are actually like used for those, all of them. So these are all listed here. And another way to list everything is that if I can just use pip freeze. Pip freeze. So freeze will give me the same thing, but it will give me a particular format which we can store in a file called as requirements.txt. So if suppose, I mean, as we learned in the previous video, that if we want to like create a similar type of a new environment, we can use just pip minus this freeze command, and then redirect this into a requirements.txt file, and then use that as an input when we create a new virtual environment. This is all we learned in the previous video. So guys, this was all about the setting up our project, and then how to use Anaconda manager or conda manager to create a new environment, to activate your environment, to install the packages, or to deactivate and remove our virtual environments. In the next video, we'll go into the details about NumPy. See you all in the next video.